So we're going to take a look here at the creation of the front wheel hub. We'll start off with a quick 60-second run through for those of you who just need a quick overview of the modelling strategy, and we'll move on to a much more in-depth step-by-step description of how the front wheel hub was created. So here's the wheel hub at the end of the process with all the features in place, and the hub started life as a simple extrusion like this. From this extrusion we added a second extrusion, as we can see in the browser here, and then this corner was chamfered, and the two side features were added as extrusions, with smaller extrusions added next, and then followed by a further chamfer and a hole running all the way through the part. This inner feature is added as a further extrusion, followed by this support on the front. The rib that adds the inherent strength to the hub starts life as this sketch, which allows us to use the rib tool and a second time for further strength, followed by an extrusion to add some shape. This hole is added near the front and then chamfered, followed by another hole here, which is tapped. The mirror tool is used to place another instance of this rib, but on the front face, and then an extrusion creates the angled feature on the front here. A couple of fillets are then added, and the final couple of steps sees the part created. So here is the part created in Inventor, and we're going to go through the steps in a step-by-step manner in order to illustrate exactly how this was modelled. So we'll open up a new part, say standard.ipt, and the first thing I'm going to do is to draw a circle centered on the origin, and I'll either pick the dimension tool or type D and click on the circle, go away to place a dimension and edit that to 20mm diameter, hit return or click the green check. That gives us our 20mm diameter circle. So I can say right click, done for no more dimensions, right click again to finish the sketch, a third right click to go to a home view, and we can either click extrude or type E, and up comes the extrude dialog box. We're going to extrude that to a height of 11.5mm, say OK, and that's step 1 created from scratch. And the next thing we'll do then is to put another circular sketch on this face, so we'll click create 2D sketch onto that face, use the circle tool, pick up the origin, and we're going this time for a diameter type D of 22mm. We'll say right click, done for no more dimensions, second right click to finish the sketch, and we're going to extrude that sketch with the outer and the inner, a distance this time of 15.5. And that gives us the basic material to begin the modelling process with. The next step in the process is to take this sharp corner away by adding a chamfer. Here's a chamfer tool here. The value is 1mm, and I'm going to pick up on that edge just there and apply that chamfer, and we'll say OK. And we'll close that now, and we're now going to shell the material that we have with a wall thickness of 2mm. So we'll pick the shell tool, up comes the shell tool dialog box. The button that's currently depressed is the remove faces button, so I'm going to take the opportunity now to pick that face. We'll hold down F4 and manoeuvre it around and grab the other face on the bottom. Stipulate a wall thickness of 2mm and say OK. I'll just use F4 again to allow me to inspect inside and out, and that's what we're after. That's the shell operation complete. For the next step in the operation, we'll just go back to the isometric view for a second, and I'm going to go into the origin folder, and I'm going to pick up on either that vertical default work plane or perhaps that one. Not that one, yeah, any of the two vertical default work planes. I'll go for that one. I'm going to right click on it and turn on its visibility, and go into the model tab and click create a 2D sketch and put a 2D sketch onto that surface there. And for the extrusion that I'm going to create, I'm going to sketch a circle, and the position of the circle is going to be from this point here, roughly this distance. We'll get it right just in a second. I'm going to pick up the inferred point to get vertically aligned with the origin, and I'll click to define the center, pull away, click again, and you'll see that circle appears to have disappeared. It is in fact in the middle of the model there, so I think now would be a good time to say right click and say done, and right click and say slice the graphics to take this material away so we can see what we're doing here. I'll pick the dimension tool, just type D, and I'll have this sketch completely dimensioned when I've set the distance from the origin to the centre of the circle at 22mm and set the diameter of the circle at 10mm. So with the sketch fully dimensioned, I can right click and say finish the sketch, and then choose the extrude tool and select the circle that I've just sketched and choose the symmetrical option and set a value of 26mm. Say OK to that, and my part is complete up to this point. Next I have to create a small extrusion on this face, and I need an identical extrusion on the other face round here, so I'll use the mirror tool to allow me to do that more efficiently. So first of all then I'll put a 2D sketch onto that face, and it needs to be a circle centred on that origin there. I'll go for any size for now, type D, and dimension that circle to 7mm. That sketch is finished. I'll say right click and done, right click and finish the sketch, and I'm going to extrude that area a distance of 1mm. Say OK to that, and if I've still got this default work plane visible, the next step is straightforward. I'm going to use the mirror tool, which is just here in the pattern tab, and I'm being asked for the feature just now that's to be mirrored, so I'll grab that extrusion there, then select the mirror plane option and tell the software that it's the default work plane here, say OK, and if I use the view cube to ground and inspect the other side, I'll see that new extrusion on the other side. So for the next step of the operation, I'm going to apply a small chamfer on this edge here and the corresponding edge on the other side. So I'll pick the chamfer tool, make sure the distance is 1mm, pick the edges option and grab that edge just there, hold down F4 so that I can click and hold and manoeuvre around and grab the other corresponding edge. I'll say apply, and both chamfers have been applied to the edges that I was after, so I can cancel and take the dialog box away. I now need to create a tapped hole on this face running all the way through the part, and step 1 of this operation is to put a 2D sketch on that face, like so, and I'll just say right click and previous view to get a better look at that, and all I really need is for the centre point to be indicated for my next step, which it has done automatically, so I can right click and finish the sketch. I'm now able to use the hole tool, which will automatically pick up on the centre here and apply the type of hole that I'm after. I'm going to select the tapped hole, and from the thread types I'll go for isometric profile, and the size that I'm after is a 4mm M4 thread with a 0.7 pitch. I'm going to pick the centers option and tell the software that the center that I'm after is right here. And for termination, I'm going to say through all. When I say OK at that, if I use the view cube and inspect the other side, I'll see that the tapped hole has come all the way through. We need to now get rid of the material on the inside here, and that's easily done with a simple extrusion. So I'm going to put a sketch onto that face just there, and I've automatically picked up that circle there, so I can just immediately say right click and finish the sketch. And I'll extrude this area here, make sure it's a cut operation, distance of 11mm will do the job, and say OK. And that's removed the material that I needed to there. We now have to place a small extrusion in this area up here, so I'm going to use the plane tool to hover over this top surface and click and hold and drag and create a new work plane 5mm from the top. So I'll enter a value here of -5 and say OK to that. And onto that new work plane I'm going to place a 2D sketch. And onto that sketch I'm going to place a circle centered on the origin here, dimensioned to 14mm, and I'll use the project geometry tool to project that circle as well, just there. That's the sketch finished. Right click and done, right click and finish the sketch, and I'm going to extrude that area that I've created just here. We use the extrude tool, pick up this area. I'm looking for a distance of 2mm and OK that. For the next step in the operation, you're required to create a sketch as shown here. Now you can see the sketch is rather complicated, so instead of getting you to follow all these dimensions, you can download this sketch as Sketch Hub 1 and paste the sketch onto the XZ default work plane in the position shown here. Once you paste the sketch into that position, it's a relatively straightforward task to extrude this area, distance of 4mm symmetrical about the work plane. And when you say OK, this complex extrusion is in place.